Enjoy the show. Drive on Lugnutz.
All we have to do is to crank over those engines, gearheads, because 'tis none other than us, the Lugnutz podcast, don't you know?
Recorded 5 May 2024. DDX. Toyota Hales Hydra. ASA. Hyundai Spend. And Subaru Go. That and more on this week's Lugnutz. Thank you for joining us.
Enjoy the show. Drive on Lugnutz.
Drive on indeed. Right on over here to Facebook.com/Lugnutz podcast. That's where you're going to find all of the up-to-date and luggy and nutty polished content from PJA and DWH's Lugnutz podcast. Just like you're going to find the polished first story.
Acura's going electric. Well, when I say Acura, I don't really mean Acura. I mean, it looks as ugly as an Acura does.
They've always looked ugly, but they've really driven really well, and they're reliable.
They're bringing back that hideous front end. New ZDX rides on General Motors' Ultimum electric platform. Y'all know what that means.
Like it's like they had that one friend who never had good style, and they're like, "Hey man, make the grill. We just need you to make a good grill." And you're like, "How could they fuck up a grill?" But they kept that guy in the company, and it's like let's see how he can keep fucking it up. I mean, I guess the rest of the car speaks for the grill. Like I can't hold back on Acura because I like them. That's a dumb grill. Like the dumb grill you had on my car, my 12TL. It's a dumb grill. I still appreciate the car. It does not look good. Little bucktooth thing. And this, what is this? We're just not going to give you a grill. It just looks like it's mad at you.
Well, would you believe the interior parts were constructed from General Motors parts as well? This will be made in Tennessee, which means it qualifies for the federal tax credit of $7,500. Starting at $65,850, you get 358 horsepower and 324 torque screwed in there. Estimated range 313 miles with a 202 kilowatt hour battery pack. The S-Type gets a bit more horsepower with 499.
So this is what we're seeing from the ultimate GM Acura partnership that we talked about years ago. Is this thing?
This is the Ultimum platform. They sold it everywhere this year. They made deals with everyone because everyone had to have an electric, and it turns out
we have the benefit now. I just realized because I see people going back and looking at previous podcasts, and I mean we have the benefit of after 3 years of Lugnutz being able to say, "Hey, they were talking about this."
Well, they are talking about it. This is maximum fast charge of 190 kilowatt hours. You can get a home charge station for $500, a public charge with level 1 and 2 portable charge credits, whatever the hell they are. Installation of $250 for a 240 volt outlet. 300 public charging credits. I guess it's more public charging credits.
I hope it's not Republic credits because nobody recognizes Republic credits.
Well, 750 with Electrify America. The A spec includes active dampeners that you won't find on the Lyricoy because it's basically a Lyricoy.
All right.
Type S also gets the adjustable air suspension dampener, air suspension with Brembos on 22 11-inch infotainment screen inside that is below.
I mean, in red, it doesn't look bad. It's just that fucking ugly gold color, man. What is that?
Well, the interior quality is lower than other Acuras. Similarly,
It's almost like they
priced.
paired with GM.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna talk about this every single podcast I can. It's like when I was selling the Rutan versus the Town and Country. I had a customer looking at both of them. She sat inside both of them. She was like, "What is the difference besides the emblem?"
Nothing.
I got the sale on the fucking Town and Country though. It wasn't as much money as a Volkswagen, but you take the sale you can get. You set it next to each other. See that expensive one? Now look at this one. They look the same.
Well, let's see what Hydra's doing. Toyota hails Hydra in North America. Toyotas will use a fuel cell energy. Toyota of North America and Fuel Cell Energy have opened a first of a kind tri-gen system generator for renewable hydrogen, water, hydrogen, electric, and water at the largest port facility in North America.
Okay.
The Long Beach facility will be the distribution center. It is the distribution center for Toyota Logistical Services.
So they're going to add in hydrogen, electric, and water?
Yep. Trigen system uses biogas products, renewable hydrogen, renewable electric, and usable water to produce energies that come out the other side, I assume, and power Toyota stuff.
It's that one of the first or second laws of physics? Energy is not created or destroyed, it's transferred. That just means you got to figure out how to transfer energy.
And sometimes it's transferred into the ether. Unlike this next story. BMW is at it again, not with more subscriptions, but when you drive a clutch, you have the whole clutch part.
Yeah,
that's
annoying.
Leg. It's annoying to do. It's annoying.
People will argue with that. They say
BMW's gotten rid of it. You don't need it anymore.
Everybody's gotten rid of it. That's it. How did they?
No, you could shift. You just don't need to push the clutch down.
So it's like
this is the automated shift assistant. The
California Racing, that one arcade game. You just go first, second, third, fourth. Like there's no clutch, so it's
you don't have to. Yeah, like a video game. Yeah.
Okay.
Except as you see here, it's way more complicated than that. BMW. Morad presented an innovative technical solution to electrical mechanisms, actuators that automate the clutch and gear shift for a 6-speed manual transmission. There's no need for a hand lever to operate the clutch manually. It is made easy with an automated shift assistant. That's a mouthful.
Okay, so they have clever stuff like this right here.
So in manual mode, it basically sort of drives normal, like a manual car would. It revs in the desired target gear within the maximum or minimum rev range, and shifts are made when it falls below the speed, and downshifts are performed automatically.
Okay.
In D mode, there's some changes depending on the ride, the mode, the engine revs, the throttle, the position, and the lean angle for all the parameters. It's like driving a manual, I guess.
The clutch really is part of it, and if you can't stall out in traffic and almost kill yourself, what fun is it?
It eliminates speaking of stalling, this eliminates the possibility of the engine stalling during gear shifts because it's kind of doing everything for you.
Turbo Troy, he has always stood fast by the classic manual, and I know a lot of car guys do. I see this as a feasible way for the manual to actually live on.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not the same, but if you don't trust the computer, you can go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 or to 18.
It's a Shiftatronic.
You know,
they've had the Shiftatronic
yeah.
up and down, whatever you want. You know,
and they had the flap. Nobody likes the flappy paddles. Okay, they want the little shifter.
They don't like the flappy pedals because they
know.
don't work because the transmissions are crap. You want it to go up and it doesn't go up. You want it to go down, it doesn't go down. I want second. Why? Because I paid for the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leased it. Whatever.
It might be hard on the engine. I don't care. I want it. You know, I get that. So if it's a nice forward for the manual, I mean, even if it's just it's still an option. I might actually buy a manual then. I'm not gonna lie. It would be fun. Especially if I don't have to move. I'll have to fucking... You're right.
Well, I'm sure BMW will try and work in a subscription in there somewhere.
If you don't pay the subscription, you gotta use the clutch. How are you gonna get around that? I'm not gonna... You know, I liked how I didn't have to do that. Yeah, well, you gotta subscribe.
Don't give them any ideas.
All right.
Like this innovative design from the 90s. Coming up next. I've always liked the Durango.
Yeah.
I mean, more so when it first came out, and it went like, because before all cars I remember were like SUVs were very box-like.
Yeah.
Then the Durango came and it was not box-like.
Yeah,
it was so much different.
It was.
It blew all our minds. I know it sounds crazy now, but we were like, holy fuck, look at that thing. It's amazing.
We just got our minds blown by a Bronco. I mean, and then we get a Durango. Like, what are we going to do?
And now we have this, which kind of looks normal.
Now, looks like everything else they're doing.
We have a Dodge Durango starting at $89,795. Wow, a lot far from where it came in the beginning. 2024 Dodge Durango SRT 329 Alcahemi. What a name. This is the final year for the V8 engine on the Durango, which I think probably means they'll go hybrid next time.
Probably because they can't sell that in California.
Well, they are limited to 1,000 units, 4 colors, 250 of each. Diamond Black, Destroyer Gray, Vapor Gray, and White Knuckle.
So gray, and white.
You can have, they're offering a variety of grayscale. Thanks, Dodge. All the colors in the world. Meanwhile, you go to buy a neon, you can say, I want this color on my Alonzo shirt. And they're like, beep. Okay, there you go.
Come back in a week.
I want this color right here.
Yeah.
Beep. There you go. Skin white.
It's the last time you're going to be releasing this. The last time you can put a V8 in a Durango. And what are you going to release for colors? Gray. You didn't even give a black.
No, there is a black.
Oh, you said black?
Diamond black.
Oh, okay. Black, gray, white.
Yes. But it has a 5.7 liter, 345 cubic inch Hemi V8 powered with a supercharger. It's also a 6.2.
Like black, gray, silver, white. That would have been like a true gray still.
They didn't call it that. That color name was taken. Or you can get the supercharged 6.2 liter Hemi Hellcat V8 in the Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat model. That sounds fun. That one sounds like there's a lot of fun under the hood of that one. It's still, as an SUV goes, not a bad looking SUV. I like the front ends more. I'm not sold on that grill. I mean, I guess it's all right, but
I'd like to think that the people who are going to buy that car look at it and say, as long as it's what I want it, I can make the outside look whatever the fuck I want.
now that I look at the front end, doesn't it kind of look like a catfish?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a catfish.
The Dodge Durango Catfish Edition coming to a theater near you. But what isn't in a theater is in this next story. And that is how catfish eat birds.
Okay. Now I know. I didn't know before, but I had to know.
Another thing you have to know is this. This is Hyundai.
Oh.
They've agreed to spend $1 billion to save a self-driving startup. To save it. They now own it. They're the major stakeholder in this self-driving startup.
I want to buy your company. Okay.
Well, our company's going to fold if you don't give us money. We'll just buy it. Here, you're ours now. We had an exclusive deal anyway, but ours now. Plans for November 2023 to co-develop a product for the all-electric Ion 5, a robo-taxi, the automaker's new innovation center in Singapore. So they're planning on doing a lot of things with this vehicle that we'll see in 2 stories.
I mean, it's interesting how not that they're buying the company, that makes sense. But it's interesting that we're getting a lot more of these companies to where we may get self-driving faster than they predicted if they get the right people behind it.
Well, self-driving is kind of almost here, and it will be the future. Maybe not in 5 years, but let's see, it's in Mercedes now. So if you look at the average car, it's about 10-ish kind of years. Plus or minus, depending on the acceleration rate of technology, which is generally pretty stable.
I mean, it's not a bad idea, especially because I was thinking, we've said this back and forth way too many times, but if there were a lot more self-driving cars out there, I think it would be a lot faster on the road.
It might be, but you know what might not be faster?
This next story.
Honk, honk, rattle, rattle, shake, beep, beep.
Oh no, it's a Jeep!
It's all right. It's a Jeep Gladiator. Gladiator 4xe plug-in hybrid, turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, a starter generator, and an electric motor paired to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. 375 horsepower, 470 torques inside, or you get a 3.6 V6 powered with 285 horsepower. That sounds like less to me. And 360 torque. So I would go.
They're probably compromising for the market. They want to offer an EV, but they also want to satisfy their longtime Jeep people who I like that style.
It's not an
EV.
My engine. It's a hybrid.
Well, hybrid, but they don't want a hybrid. They want a true engine.
Well, you're going to get less horsepower.
You have more of a loyalty to a true engine with Dodge and the Americans, I feel, especially with Jeeps.
They're all
Jeeps and trucks, especially.
They're all going hybrid. What do you mean a loyalty to the engine?
There are people.
They're loyal to the engine. They do nothing else but our engine.
I'm saying, just like a loyalty to the manual transmission, there is a loyalty to the engine. Where some people, yes, that's why they offer that, because they know people will buy that. They'll buy a all gasoline Gladiator. They will buy a manual transmission Mustang.
They're not sticking to it out of loyalty. They're sticking to it because they just can't do electric. They've tried. They're like, that's really hard. We can't.
It's not just that. It's
but
also
everything.
They realize that people aren't just going to want that electric, especially for a Jeep. When you look at a Jeep, they're all off-road. Some people are traditionalists and they want to have just an engine. It's silly, I know, but those people are out there, and there's enough of them with Jeep. I think that's why they're just having 2 versions of this, and That's just what I think about it.
Okay, well, let's go look at that Kia again. This is the Kia we looked at earlier. If you go below, there's more photos. The 2 new images of the Kia EV6. We get one on the back side. We get the lights. And it kind of looks like the one we saw within the automated driving story. Yeah. 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack, 310 miles of range, 225 horsepower, like the V6, but no V involved. 285 torques, rear-wheel drive, or you get one with 218 miles, 578 horsepower, wow, and 545 torques. That's quite a range of horsepower. Would they offer on this one? Would you like extra horsepower, or would you like extra range? That's an interesting.
This is our menu. What would you like to choose from?
The by the way, the 218-mile version with 576 horsepower is a high-performance version with dual motors, all-wheel drive, and a GT trim. Let's go up and see if there's click on that, see if there's some more photos for us to look at. Here, this one says photos. Wow, that's
the same 3 that we saw. Oh, there we go.
It's blue.
So you can see it in white and blue with yellow, fucking god-awful yellow.
You know what has white, blue, and yellow all over?
Hopefully this next story.
Yes. But Subarus are automatically driving on their own into stuff, as you can see here.
I got to imagine AI is not involved in this at all.
No, but there are lawyers involved.
I
which
figured that.
Always get involved with lots of stuff. Subaru of North America has complaints from owners.
I wouldn't believe.
We'll cut to the chase. Subaru's like, it has nothing to do with us. By the way, you made the car. I think it does have something to do with you. Well, the vehicles are apparently unintentionally starting and driving on their own. When the driver's foot is nowhere near the pedal. I know what you're thinking. Okay. But like one person, maybe. But like
not everyone.
Drivers, when there's like lawyers involved, like,
all right, maybe we gotta start taking this seriously. Got our 15th lawyer call.
Yeah, Subaru denies any fault in purchases or leases of 2012 to 2020 Subaru Forester, 2015 to 2020 Legacy, 2015 to 2020 Outback. Class action suit was first filed in the year 2020. I guess they were home with the pandemic and had nothing better to do.
That's why their foot was nowhere near the pedal. They were like, I was inside.
But hey,
what the fuck happened?
At least when they're crashing in the shift, they'll be safe. It's a Subaru. And you too could be safe.
You know what I hope? I hope it turns out to be something like they just used cheaper parts. Because it's often suspect to some of these recalls. A few. But
that's probably what it is.
A lot of them use cheaper parts. So it's like, man, fucking call this shit out.
I'd like to call out the next story. Next story. Urus. There it is. Lamborghini Urus. It's their SUV that I didn't think they really needed. But they have one, so it's here. And it's a plug-in hybrid. It's showing buyers the designed hybrid at the high end.
Have you ever thought, you know what? I'd love a luxury Lamborghini, but you know what? I need space.
No.
You buy a Lamborghini because you want a fucking Lamborghini.
Well, look, it's an all-new plug-in hybrid. It has nearly 800 horsepower of combined powers from the gas part and the other part.
I just don't want it to turn out like Aston Martin, to where, like, man, you used to never see an Aston Martin at a body shop. Now we have like fucking 7. Like, don't turn into that. Don't go SUV. Stick with your roots. Go fast.
Well, it goes 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, if that's fast enough for you.
There you go. That's good. Stay there.
They were saying that hybridization was difficult to accept many years ago. Say 5 years ago, for a sports supercar, manufacturers like us, Lamborghini.
Not us. We don't manufacture.
I don't manufacture Lamborghinis. So hybrids are buyers are becoming more ready to accept it with the increased or decreased CO2 emissions and the increased power. But if you're going to come or go, we'd love for you to go on over to our internet pages, which can be found on the internet near you.
Yeah, you go over to facebook.com/Lugnutz podcast, and that's where you're going to find all of our Luggy and Nutty content. Type into your web search www.pjandwh.com, and that's where you're going to find all of the Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers content. And of course, it doesn't matter if you drive a Jeep or an Aston Martin, because nothing rolls without Lugnutz. We'll see you next week, gang. Until then, drive on! No. It's Lugnutz.
No honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Old man. Finish intro category award videos for the heroic. Long. A lot of editing. Back. But thank all of you for standing by us. We got a lot of great podcasts in the hopper and a lot of people. Until next week. We love you. We miss you. And we want you to drive on Lugnutz. Bye-bye.
Drive on Lugnutz.